Well,
Cool.
welcome to the welcome to the second episode of Star Support. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty darn good, honestly. The weather's
Ooh.
nice, work was good.
Weather's not nice. I mean, and right now, did you open your window? Have you looked out there?
Yeah, I mean, the weather's not nice, but I mean, yesterday I heard it was going to be like 90 something degrees and like super humid, and in my work
hmm
hours it was raining for a pretty good amount of it.
Yeah.
So it kind of
Okay.
kind of evened out the heat a little bit. So, I mean, it's 100 degrees regardless in my shop. So, I mean, it's
Gross.
yeah. Oh
Yeah, I
well.
mean, it's just like the humidity just gets to me.
Right? I don't
I
mind
hate it.
dry heat, but when it's that stickiness, ugh. People
Oh
down in
yeah,
Louisiana, man, I got my hats off to you guys. My goodness.
I mean, I'm a naturally sweaty person, so humidity is bad for me. Uh,
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you are currently listening to this, that means you may be stuck around for the second episode and you swiped right on us from the last episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So to have the sunburn incident update, I
hmm
have peeled and I'm just the same, but I'm brand new. And I'm feeling pretty good. I can actually finally sleep on my back now.
Well, that's
and
good.
and my sides. Yeah, before I was like having to sleep on my stomach and like propped up with a pillow because like it would hurt
Oof.
my like because it was a little bit in the front of my shoulders too. So that was maybe like a week and a half of not a fun time.
Yikes, man. That stinks. That
Yeah.
stinks.
Well, I guess we can address it. This episode 2 is coming out a little late. The first time we kind of went back and forth with a day of like, oh, this is go work, and then it didn't work for one of us, and we went back and forth, and then the day we recorded was like the day where we were both completely just bummed out.
Yeah, it was
and we
awful.
Yeah, and we recorded like I would say maybe an hour, and then we both stopped and we were like, well, since this is their second episode and we're already phoning it in, so this is not good. So
Yeah.
we like took a step back and we were like, you know what? We'd rather focus on what we want to put out, what we think is quality. So
This is
hopefully this
our
podcast
attempt at
turns out better.
that.
Yeah. Continue with updates. Min Min was released for Smash on or not released. She was announced for Smash on the
hmm
past Monday. Did you watch the trailer?
I did watch the trailer. I'm actually
And what
pretty
did you
excited about it.
Yeah,
Like,
I think she'll be an interesting character.
yeah, man. I really like her moveset. She seems to have a pretty nice, diverse move pool. Um, I mean, I don't play Smash anymore. I was born and bred on Brawl,
You should just buy
unfortunately.
a Switch.
I know. You should just buy a
Buy a
PS5.
Switch.
Uh,
No, no, that's for people who think they're cool. Well, okay, just a side tangent. Have you seen those videos on YouTube where it's like a graph of sales or just something like, or it's like a top five or something like
hmm
that? Have you seen those?
Yeah, yeah, I've
And
seen
it just
those.
shows it over a period of time. And I was like amazed to see that it was just talking about like the best selling console companies. And of course, the main three you're going to know are Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. So it was kind of weird as I watched that progression. But then when you saw it on the actual chart of how like Xbox is not even really competing with PlayStation
Yeah, no.
in console sold, that I because honestly I like I didn't know exact numbers, but like my base knowledge, I always thought it was like Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo.
hmm
And to my surprise, like PlayStation is kind of competing with or Nintendo's kind of competing with PlayStation in first, and then Xbox
It's
like
falling.
is down on the bottom of the
Yeah.
mountain, like hitting itself with a pan, going, "We have good graphics," and it's just like not really.
Or so here's the thing that I'm curious about is I wanna know how many of those PlayStation purchases are repurchases for a broken console, and just for all of those, because like I guess the argument could be made that maybe there's less Xbox sales because they don't break as much. I don't know, but I'd be interested in seeing how many of those were repurchases.
Okay, I'm
Coming
about to
from
end
a
this
PlayStation
podcast.
guy.
I'm about to end this podcast right here. Don't you dare defend Xbox, being like, "Oh, they don't break. They don't break." It was known. I have never owned an Xbox, but the only thing I know about the 360 was the
The Red
red
Ring of
ring of
Death.
death.
Uh-huh.
The red ring of death, and that's all I ever heard about Xbox. And
I've heard a
that's
lot of
why.
good things about the Xbox One. Like my two of my
Oh,
brother, no, all three brother-in-laws, all have Xbox Ones. I think they might even have one S's. Um,
oh,
and I mean, I've played a little bit on them. They're pretty sweet. I prefer PlayStation for almost almost entirely just for controller, and I think the PlayStation exclusive games are more fun. But anyways, about Min Min.
yeah. Well, I don't know if I think I will. I've only bought one DLC character. I bought Hero.
Mm-hmm. I
But I
remember.
think I might. Yeah, I think I might buy hers. Like I kind of wanted like because that was the thing. At first, I didn't really. I mean, I'm still old. Like I'm about to turn 25, but I'm still old school when I'm like DLC. What is this? I'm getting chipped. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But I was expecting it, of course, when you buy like any video game at this point, there's going to be DLC,
Oh yeah.
especially paid DLC. So I was expecting it with Smash, but I was like, okay, if it's a character I like, which I think I even said in the last episode, like the pretty much besides like Banjo and Kazooie
Mm-hmm.
and Byleth, I didn't even know any of them.
The other one's
Like
what,
I like
Joker?
there's Joker, Terry, Banjo Kazooie, uh um
Hero.
oh yeah, Hero, there we go. And then and Byleth. And I knew Byleth, I knew Banjo Kazooie, and I heard of Dragon Quest, but I didn't know like the titular thing because I never played it.
Yeah.
So like I guess that was the thing, people were losing their mind like, oh my goodness, Terry and Joker, and I was just like, who are these people? Like I could have cared less, to be honest.
Yeah.
But like I think I probably will buy Min Min. Um, I guess the only thing is that like I don't play Smash as often as I like did for a certain period. For Ultimate, but the last time I played it, I realized that like my character style was like or play style was changing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think like I would say I've always kind of played melee characters a little bit that are
Yeah.
like close range. Like I would play as like Wii Fit Trainer
Mm-hmm.
and Lucina and sometimes Bayonetta, but those were like my main ones. So like having a character with range because or not even like I didn't even use a character that had projectiles really besides Wii Fit Trainer. Um, so this is gonna be
Well, you
I think
you ran
different for
around as
me.
Snake for a little while in Brawl, I remember.
Well, yeah, that was a long time
Yeah,
ago.
that was a long time ago.
That was a long time
That's what
ago.
2 games ago now. Is Brawl two
Mm,
games?
tech or I
Because
mean
they had
technically,
the Wii U and now there's Ultimate. So
um, yeah, and there's the 3DS, but I think that's considered like the same game as
is the Wii U thing?
the Wii U version.
Ah,
But
okay.
yeah, Brawl was released in 2008.
Whew.
And yeah, so wow, that's over 10 years old. Wow, it's 12 years old now.
Yikes.
Man, I don't even think my melee disc works anymore. I think the last time I tried to play it kept coming up with an error code and
Oh
I
man.
stopped. And
Yeah,
so
dude. You were a monster in Melee.
yeah, I could have been a contender.
I still think
Oh
it would have been fun
man.
if we did some old like some back when we used to play Brawl a lot. I think it would have been pretty fun to see us go up against like some local tournament people and whatnot.
Yeah, I get that's the thing is like I'm whenever I play online with Smash Ultimate, I get my handed to me. So I don't know if it's something that like I mean I don't really have the time to like put into it. So even if I think if I did like a local tournament, I'd probably like lose my first thing and then just be like, what happened? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe at one point, like when we were playing Brawl like every single day over the summer,
Yeah.
at one point we were a lot better.
Back when we were taking on level 9 bots solo.
I mean, most people consider bots easy, but
True. True.
We'd have some pretty crazy one-on-one matches.
Yeah.
Uh, Also, I since I listened to the last podcast a bunch of times, did you ever watch Power Rangers Turbo, like I told you to?
Um. Um.
Um,
Um.
um.
Um. No, unfortunately, I haven't had time. I've
Oh, you haven't had the time.
No, man. Season 4 and Call of Duty came out. You talking about paid
Oh, I'm
DLC? This is a
sorry.
free DLC. But
Oh,
you
okay.
Nintendo boy over there, you wouldn't understand the level of PlayStation.
I'm sorry that we as fans want to help support our system and these creators that put their heart and soul into it.
I mean, we can
Sacri-
support ours too with 250 gigabytes of our memory storage on our PlayStation.
Yeah, busy running down to the Walmart, be like, I gotta get that memory card.
Right? Like literally, like I got an external hard drive for this thing, and I'm like, I'm just gonna put just this game on the external hard drive, and hopefully it doesn't pass over a terabyte of memory.
Okay, so um, the way the question thing is gonna work, if this happens to be the first podcast you're listening to, go listen to the first one and then come back so the updates make sense. So the questions, I think at some point, if we ever get a following, which I hope we do, we'll try to get a brand deal with G Fuel, and they'll promote us.
I mean, hey, I'll take it, man. I don't have
Yeah,
money for G Fuel, but I've actually heard it's really good. It's
I
supposed to be like
mean,
a no sugar added sweetener or something like that, or a flavor thing.
yeah, I mean it's they like I think they sponsor everybody pretty much.
Oh yeah,
Even like
gamers especially.
yeah, or not even just gamers. They do you know who the Jersey E girl is?
No, I don't.
No, she is like well, she's a TikTok person, but
Uh,
basically she went viral cuz she has like this very just thick Jersey accent.
okay.
The guy kind of like okay, picture Harley Quinn but like not as cartoony.
Oh my goodness.
I saw on whatever things that she was like, "Oh yeah, use my code and you'll get 30% off G Fuel." I was
Holy
just like,
cow.
I was like, "Man, I'm like they just sponsor anybody."
I
So
mean, marketing, man.
yeah, I was like, "G Fuel, hit us up, bro."
Yeah, dude, I'll take a G Fuel
um,
sponsor.
yeah, but so the way questions are gonna work, maybe once we get a following, people can send in questions. Maybe we can do certain topics. Uh, I found some stuff online that I
Hmm.
wanted to kind of see if what you think about it and stuff.
All
But
right.
uh, I guess they're kind of like under the thing of conspiracy theories, but they're also like urban legend things, which are some of these. So I'm gonna come out of the gate strong with the Malaysian airline flight MH370. Do you
My
remember that?
goodness. Yeah, I remember it, man.
Yeah, and it was actually funny because we've come again full circle because we talked about this when we would pretend to do a podcast. Remember, we would
Mm,
just record and then we're gonna be like, we're gonna release this one day, and then we never did anything with it.
yeah.
And we talked about it. We were like, where did the plane go? Where did it go? um.
Yeah.
So, do you have any theories about it?
Um, I still think that I don't know. I feel like it was shot down, to be totally honest.
Ooh.
Just
Okay.
because so here's the reasoning behind that. Before I was like, okay, maybe like it went down somewhere. Like I
Okay.
understand what I can find out
Yeah.
anyways. Black boxes are really hard to get rid of on planes. But I mean it is still possible, and I mean if it's at the very bottom of the ocean, maybe, I don't know. But I think it you know, where was it? Was it Iran or Iraq? Somewhere over in the Middle East, I believe, accidentally shot down um, a commercial airline, and it was a mistake. It was a military mistake, and I'm wondering if this happened with the Malaysian Airlines flight.
Oh, that's the most popular conspiracy about it is that
So
it was because that was flight. Let's see, I have it in my notes here. That was flight MH17.
okay,
And they said it was like the same thing, and there was like a bunch of political stuff about it. But I know I watched a video about it, and my memory is fuzzy about it. But I think what ended up happening with it, this is based on the video, and I don't know how true it is, was that um that like the pilots messed up, and they like flew too long in one pattern, and then they started running out of fuel or something like that, and then
Mm-hmm.
they like turned back instead of going to the destination, and then there was a point where it just like cuts off.
Hmm.
So I mean, I think probably other popular theories are like aliens.
Yeah, I've heard of aliens a few
Yeah,
times.
aliens abducted it and they're tested on. I don't know. Probably more than likely, I feel probably like they turned around and then just probably went into the ocean. And I don't know much about it, but it's probably sitting with currents somewhere. It's probably just sitting on like the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
Sadly, yeah. Even
See,
though there was weird,
here's the thing that
there
I
was
was.
like
Go ahead.
no, I heard that there was like weird stuff about it though. That like passengers' phones were still ringing like a few days after. Like if you called like the person that was supposed to be on the flight, if you called their number, it would still ring.
Huh.
And people were like, "Oh, if it did like go into the water, it would have short circuited the phone, therefore it wouldn't ring, it would just go straight to voicemail." But I don't know how true those claims are.
I mean, I can go. Believe it or not, I use Team Maybe. I mean T-Mobile. And I can
Team
go.
maybe.
I can go in downtown Chicago and not have a single bar of cell reception. So, I mean, the idea that this plane might be somewhere, like if it's at the bottom of the ocean or whatever. I mean, one, if any kind of the ship was still in contact, like was still in reasonable
Yeah.
uh, shape, there could just be an air pocket. Like air pockets of of just perfectly good oxygen exist all over the place down in the ocean, just in an ocean cave, in sunken debris. That happens to be airtight. So I mean, there could be that. But then the other thing is like, if it is on the bottom of the ocean and if people's cell phones are ringing, I don't buy that. I feel like they'd have to be closer to a a cell phone tower or something because it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, what cell service are they using that they're getting reception literally at the bottom of the ocean? Like that
Yeah.
sounds insensitive, but seriously, I want to know.
Yeah, I think that's what like tied into that theory was that it popped up later and it was shot down by uh what I forgot what it was. I'm trying to glance through my notes here. Or like I think it was Iran or something like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think I don't know. I remember that being a big thing. Like that was
yeah.
back when I did fencing, and I remember um I was at the gym and I was like doing the bike, and I like plugged my headphone thing in to listen to the news, and they were talking about it. They were like, "What happened to the plane? What happened to it?" That was a huge thing for days or probably
Mm-hmm.
weeks. But I just remember being like, "Wow, a plane went down? That's
And
unbelievable."
no, and you just lost the plane. Like, how do you lose a plane?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And I know I told you not that long ago. What was it? It was like Davlov's Pass. If anybody listening hasn't heard of it, I think is it Davlov or something like that. Uh, I don't remember, but it's something like that. It was like this place in Russia, and all these like hikers while we're hiking up this mountain, and then they never came back, and then they sent out a search party to find them, and then they had all left their tent, and some of them were like kind of clothed, but they weren't dressed appropriately for the very cold, uh, like the harsh winter environment it was there. And some of them, I think one of them, they also found that he or she fell down like a ravine, and they died from like internal bleeding. And there was also weird stuff because that's where some of the conspiracy theories came from. Because like one of them was missing their eyes, and somebody had their tongue missing, or it was like cut out or something like that. I don't know. So
mm-hmm.
there was a lot of stuff, but nobody knows exactly what happened. I think their theory was that it was possible that like even though that their oven was properly ventilated, that they thought maybe that like it started to catch fire in the tent, and they had run away, and that's why like some of them weren't wearing clothes. But it's really interesting. I think there's a video on YouTube about it where
Hmm.
it explains it. It was really interesting. All right. Um. Okay. So I guess we can transition this into aliens, since like the Malaysian flight and stuff was a little bit of aliens. So do you believe in aliens?
I do not believe in aliens as in like
The little
the little
grays?
green men, basically. Like
Oh,
I'm sure there's like a bug or something on another planet,
just a
but I
bug.
mean, something to that extent, I think is reasonable to assume. But like
Okay.
actual like art, like human level sentient life form, I don't think so.
So you don't so you don't think we've been visited?
Uh,
Uh?
so I don't think so. I don't
what
think
are
so.
what are people seeing in the sky, man? What are all these people experiencing when they're like, I was abducted and I was probed?
So the thing about aliens visiting is like as goofy as it is, and I said I don't believe in aliens to that level, but like old Indian stories and stuff like that, like the Aztecs and the Mayans and stuff like
Okay.
that. Like there's a lot of stories about just random things wandering into their village and then teaching them how to do things. And there's not really any explanation in the cave drawings are like a little weird and like they don't look quite right. But at the same time, we live on the same planet where people believe in giants and some people believe in like mythological dwarves and minotaurs are a thing of Greek mythology or is that Roman mythology?
Um
Probably either.
are you saying that minotaurs aren't real?
I don't know.
I mean, I see them all the time.
So here's an interesting thing. This is a
Okay.
bit of a rabbit trail, but I find it very interesting.
Okay.
So if you read through the Bible,
Mhm.
um, Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't know how familiar you are with that, with the story.
No.
It's basically it's a story of a town, a large city that God
Okay.
wipes off the face of the planet, like
Ooh.
like fire and brimstone raining down from the heavens, type of
He
just
was
wipes out.
he was
And
having a bad day.
well, of what I understand of what the Bible says is that the people were um, they were having affairs with fallen angels, so demons. They
Oh, okay.
and they were having children with these demons.
Okay.
And a lot of people that a lot of Christian uh like mythology esque type things as close to Christian mythology as you can get anyways. The
Okay.
way that Christians that believe that story, they use that story to explain how like the story of like David and Goliath, like how Goliath was so big, and like outside of the
Oh.
Bible, like there's plenty of different ancient texts talking about Goliath working, being in the
Mhm.
Philistines, and just other giants like 10 foot tall giants, and Anak and his family of giants. Anak was a giant. I think he had was it six fingers and six toes or 7 fingers and 7 toes, something like that. But he was like 10,
Okay.
12 foot tall, and he came from an entire race of giants. And like I'm not sure if any skeletons have ever been found, but it's it's there's enough ancient historians that most of the other stuff that they've said has been true that talk about this race of giants to make people wonder, I wonder if this is true. And like if you believe in demons
B-
offspring, I mean right,
Bigfoot.
you can get all sorts of stuff like okay, yeah, minotaur sounds reasonable then, a giant sounds reasonable, anything.
and and that's why during the Crusades we killed them off.
Right.
I would like, those like, I know it's like really big with Dragon Ball, like, but the abridged series, those things where like somebody takes a really long condensed thing and then or long format thing and condenses it
Yeah.
down to like its very
Yeah.
simplest form. That that's what I'm gonna do with the Bible. Gonna be the Bible abridged. It's just like during the Crusades, we killed all the giants and minotaurs.
Yep.
Like I don't know why, but I'm just like picturing like a bunch of just like Roman soldiers just like ripping apart a Bigfoot. like that's what I'm visualizing right now. Like just a colony of Bigfoots in like Ireland or something, just like chilling out. The Roman soldiers are like ah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's not as funny as it like I think if I could convey like send a mental image to you, you would be laughing with me. So you heard it here, folks. The Crusades is where
The Minotaur.
uh the Holy Roman Empire took out the Minotaur's Bigfoot, even though not all of them, because we still have Bigfoot around, and the
Yep.
giant people. But that I
Hmm.
think that's interesting though. Um, is like a
Yeah.
explanation for why these things happen. Um, I mean that's what the
Yeah,
do you know
I
much
know a
about
little bit about it.
Scientology?
Enough to know that it's generally
A
kind of
little bit
crazy.
about it. I
But,
think. Oh boy,
Tom
we're.
Cruise, come at me.
um. Uh
No, seriously, I
oh.
would love to meet him. He sounds
But
like a complete jerk. Um,
uh, but I yeah, like that's kind of like their thing. I think is that basically like we're like the souls of these dead alien slaves that were killed and then they were infused into our bodies and we have all of these sins which are called thetans in us. And if you subscribe to Scientology at the low price of
right.
$1,000 a month, you can get your thetans
Funny
erased.
how, funny how, how the human form of monetary value can wipe away the sins of a soul. Uh, Funny how that works.
Oh yeah, just mm-hmm. I that's the basis
This
of
is
a lot
true.
of things. Sadly, are you feeling sad? How about you buy a new
I
pair of
mean, you're not
Nikes?
wrong. I mean,
Yeah,
9 times out of 10, if I buy
like
something
me the
online
other
and I'm
day.
happy about it, I it cheers me up.
Yeah, yeah. It's the anticipation of ooh, my thing's gonna come, and then you're checking your Amazon
Uh
thing.
huh.
Where is it? And then it's like out for delivery,
Right?
and you get that little rush of like, oh man, it's gonna be here soon. We're all just a different form of a
I mean, you're
crackhead.
not wrong.
Everybody's a crackhead
I
about
mean,
something in the
it's the
end,
same general idea. It's the same kind, not the same rush, but it's the same
Mm-hmm.
idea of the rush. Yeah,
It's a similar rush, yeah.
endorphins are
Like
endorphins, man.
I'm a pizza crackhead.
Ooh, I'm a sushi guy. I'm a sushi crackhead.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I know
man,
that's
that's
been
good
your
stuff.
thing recently. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
no.
you're a no to aliens
But I'm
then.
willing to change. Like, it's not a hard no, but it's like you have to have some pretty darn like I want to see an interview with an alien. Like, I want to see an alien. Other than that
Oh,
weird
okay. I'm
goofy like supposedly like leaked alien interview.
Oh
Right.
yeah, the fake ones and stuff. Yeah, I like I well, I think I've told you the story that like most of my life I grew up
Mhm.
afraid of aliens. Uh because I went to like this family party and then I hung out with like kids that were like
Mhm.
way too older than I was. Um and then they scared me because then they were just telling me stories of how they were abducted by aliens and I was like, "Oh." And so I spent like a good chunk of my like young kid life being living in fear that I was going to get abducted by aliens. Especially have you ever seen the movie
I
War of the
actually have
Worlds?
not. I think I heard the old school radio
Oh,
broadcast of it though.
mm-hmm. Yeah, well, now we've come full circle because that has Tom
Mm.
Cruise in it. War of the Worlds has Tom Cruise in that remake, and I remember that was freaking me out, something bad. And I would watch it, and I would be like, I'm like telling myself like I'm mentally preparing for
Well,
when aliens
with
come.
the radio broadcast, wasn't there like a right?
People
People
thought
were
it was
freaking
real.
out
People
over
thought it
it.
was real. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people were like, "Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
we're gonna get attacked by aliens."
because
I'm
people
pretty
people
sure
thought
that's
it
the
was
one.
like a
Anyway.
live. a live broadcast or something like that, right?
Yeah, which yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it was War of the Worlds. It might have been something else, but I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, so I'm kind of like on the fence. I think there's a lot of unexplainable stuff, like the Roswell thing. I think that was in the 50s or
The Franklin
60s. Let me look that up.
Franklin Roswell thing.
The Franklin? No, like the Roswell, New
Oh, okay.
Mexico incident, where in like to look up incident. It's like my favorite word, like an incident. When was that? Oh no, that was 1947. Wow, so that was a
Hmm.
lot earlier than I thought. Where they reportedly found like a UFO crash in the what should we call it, the
Hmm.
desert of New Mexico. So that's I don't know. I feel like I watched a video about it and it did like show that like because at some point stuff becomes like in the government. What is it called when stuff gets released? It's not like redacted. What is it called? That's when you conceal stuff.
Uh,
I forgot what it's called.
leaked.
It's not public
Uh,
domain. I don't know. Not even leaked, but where just it finally like oh the statute of
limitations.
whatever is it's not the right term for it, but that's like the basic thing of it, where stuff does come out about it and
Well, yeah,
oh
there we go.
declassified. I'm a moron. Declassified. There we go. Where stuff becomes declassified, and there was like really weird stuff around the Roswell incident, so I
Hmm.
think it's possible. Um, and I know the one I've seen. I think I saw the video of it or pictures at least, and that's in our area. Um, they're close to us because I mean we said we were in the greater Chicagoland area. We usually dropped in the
Mm-hmm.
last episode. Um, that it was like the Tinley
Mm-hmm.
lights or something like that. I forgot what it was called, where there's just like a triangle formation of lights, and that was unexplained. Um, but yeah, I don't think I've never had like an alien sighting myself though, or even like a UFO thing. There was only one time last year where there was some weird stuff floating in the sky and I wasn't sure what it was. And like I did record it, but you couldn't really see anything in the recording, which even kind of
Hmm.
creeped me out even more. And I was just like, "Huh." Like at first I thought maybe they were like
Mm-hmm.
weather balloons, but like I would assume that weather balloons would blow in like a similar direction,
Mm-hmm.
with the wind, but they were going like every which way. And I was just like,
Hmm.
"Huh." So I don't really know. I don't know what I saw. I guess it could be classified as a UFO because it was a
Mm-hmm.
unidentified flying object. But I wasn't sold at all with it.
Hmm.
Ugh. Well, I guess kind of keeping with the theme of aliens. Have you ever had like a Bigfoot sighting or like a ghost sighting
Uh,
at all
s-
of stuff like that you've seen, not even just
not
heard of, but
really.
like seen?
I mean,
Because I have a couple.
let's see. The closest thing I had to a ghost encounter um was probably at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery.
Oh yeah, I was I with
Probably.
you on that one.
It wasn't even really a sighting. It was just like
Okay.
they were trying to speak to a dead ghost or something like that. And there was like a dog barking or something.
Oh
Like
yeah, I remember
I don't
that.
know how much I want to buy of that, but it's like okay, it's a little weird.
Oh, that was the one where there was like some guy that came up and he was like, "You're gonna." They're trying to like sacrifice the dog, and he tried to steal this person's dog, and they were
It
like,
was
"What's going
something
on?"
weird. Yeah, it
Is
might
that
have been
it?
that might have been the time. There's that time, and
Yeah.
then there's the time with the zombie wedding in Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. That was weird.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was there not that recently. Um,
Okay.
like a couple months ago. It was like right before the pandemic got really bad. And nothing. Well, actually, no. Something strange did happen there. I'm assuming that somebody just put like the doll there. But I for school I had to film a movie, and they the people that I was filming with, they actually like do
Mm-hmm.
believe in magic and stuff. So they didn't want to do anything on the actual like cemetery grounds. So we like went into like the forest a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, like not too far. Like I guess that was even the thing, is that when I watched it back, I was like, oh, that's bad. You could see like the gate or like the
Mm-hmm.
fencing in the background of one of the shots, and I like facepalm. But when we were there for a while, and um I wanted to get like this specific shot. So I started walking to the right of us, and
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
creek there and everything. Right next to the creek, there was this tree there, and as I was walking over, I like looked over there, and there's this doll
What?
sitting in the tree, like in like a little nook there, and it was staring right at we were like its like sight of view was looking right where we were,
That's
like we're
creepy.
filming, and I was just like, I was like, hey guys, can you come here? And they were like, what? And I was like, can you just please come here? And then they walk over and they were freaking out. They were like, oh my god. And it was a weird thing because it was like one of those like old
Uh-huh.
timey dolls, kind of. One of its eyes were missing, I think. It was I mean, it kind of spooked me a little bit. And the only other thing that happened was that um every everybody's phone was like
Mm-hmm.
charged and everything, and then all of a sudden everybody's batteries like died, pretty much. Like all of a sudden I was trying to like watch the battery on the camera, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, low battery, and all of a sudden their phones were all like at
Hmm.
5% or like in the 10% range, and we were like, whoa, this is weird. And so eventually the funniest thing happened. So we wrapped filming and we started walking down the path, and then I was like, "Oh, I forgot something." And then I started to go back on my
Mm-hmm.
own, and then they were like, "This is how every horror movie goes, is like the one person goes." So we like kind of like split up. So basically like there was three of us. So one person stayed there, the two of us went, so we were all trying to be like in like sight of
Mm-hmm.
each other, so nothing weird happened. But it was a very weird experience. Um and the only other one, like, cuz I like believed in ghosts, kind of like I thought maybe that like the spiritual
Mm-hmm.
entity kind of thing was a possibility, but I had never experienced anything like that. Um but I had bought a used car, and it came from Georgia, which I mean, I really liked the car, but I thought it was weird. I don't know if that's normal where a car just gets
Yeah,
sold to
that's
another
pretty
state.
normal.
Okay. So I only had the car about 2 weeks, and I was driving home one night from my girlfriend at the time's house, and I'm driving, and I'm kind of a weird driver. I would say I'm very alert. I'm always like checking my mirrors, knowing like who is around me, and it was kind of late at night. Oh, excuse me, I just burped. So it was kind of late at night, and I didn't really have to, but I just like I was going into a different lane, so of course, just like instinctually, I looked at my rearview mirror, and I saw a face,
Mm-hmm.
right? And at first my like brain didn't register it, so then like I like glanced there, went to look at my side mirror, and then I was like, wait, what did I just see? And so I like go back up and I look in the rearview mirror, I see nothing, and I like turn around because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like somebody's
Mm-hmm.
in my car. And I probably not the most safe thing to do, but I like turn around in my car to go look back there, and like nothing's back there, and I am sufficiently spooked where I'm like, I saw a face in there. There was a face clear as day in the back seat, just sitting
Hmm.
chilling back there. And I told everybody, I was like, oh, I saw something. The very next day, the very next day, I turned my car on to go to work, and my check engine
Hmm.
light was on. Mm-hmm. And I was like convinced. I'm like, my car is haunted. It's haunted. Someone was murdered in it. It got sold off to here from Georgia because someone was murdered, and they have haunted this car. And I know when that happened, I I guess you could say I performed a ritual. I basically just was like, demon, you better get out of my car, or I'm gonna crash this thing and come to the afterlife and find you. And I'm like, get out of here. And then I haven't had any weird experience with it at all since then.
Okay.
So I performed a very mean-hearted exorcism on my car. So you've never had like a
No,
ghost
but I
thing
do
at all.
believe in them.
So just ah
I do believe in ghosts.
okay, yeah, which is weird because what I was 23 when that happened. So I went a lot of years without having like a ghost thing. So maybe your day will come soon, buddy.
See, I don't like the way you said that.
Your day will come soon, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Just you wait and see. um, but I mean, when I was younger, I was convinced that a Bigfoot lived in the woods behind our houses.
Oh, that's right. I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I found a weird footprint in
Mm-hmm.
my yard once, and that was really strange. I was like, "Why is there?" Because I'd already known about Bigfoot because I mean, we kind of grew up in the time where Bigfoot was like popular on like TV shows, so it, like on the Discovery Channel, Animal Planet, and all like the History Channel and all that stuff. So I remember like I kind of knew what Bigfoot was, and so when I saw the footprint, I was just outside my yard, and I was out playing Power Rangers as a young child would do when they're don't have many friends and they're an only child. So I was like outside playing Power Rangers by myself with a stick in my hand, and I was like walking around my yard, and then I like see this thing, and I'm like, "That's a footprint. Like that is a footprint." And so I took off up to the house, and I told my parents, and then they came out, and they were like, "Huh, that's strange." And I was like, "Yeah, that's strange." And then, which I've never seen, like if you go like hiking like in any of the trails by us, I've never seen it anywhere else besides my
Hmm.
area. And I don't know if you've noticed it either, but where it looks like there's chunks of bark taken out of a tree going up, like it looks like somebody like clawed into it almost, where it's like big
Hmm.
scrapes are taken off. And that was on one of the trees, and it could have been a tree that you could just kind of sit in. And so when I noticed that, I was like, yes, there is a Bigfoot here. So I very extensively started doing like research on Bigfoot and stuff, and there were other creepy things that did happen that were unexplainable. Because then there was these kids on the block that then I was just like, there's a Bigfoot here, and they were like, no way. And so the one time uh we well I started putting food out in my backyard for it. Like I would like I know one time I put like French toast sticks that my mom made for
Mm-hmm.
me out there. But anyway, so one day we put stuff out, we went to bed, and this was during the summer. So anyway, we woke up, we went back out there, and there was this, I don't even know how to describe it. It was this like long metallic wire, okay? And it was like encased around something, and it also seemed kind of metalish, but it could break apart, and there was mud in it, so it was like taken out of the
Mm-hmm.
ground, right? And we didn't know what this thing was, and it was just in my backyard, like right next to where the food
Hmm.
was. And that's what, like, that was our like definitive thing, because we hadn't found any more footprints, and we were like, we have to go into the woods and find out like if something's back there. So we put on our bike helmets, we grabbed sticks and everything, and we went out into the back woods, and eventually we came across a very old payphone,
Mm-hmm.
okay, that was like kind of buried in the dirt there, and some of the stuff was like kind of
Mm-hmm.
taken apart, but we found the other part of like the cord part of the payphone, because it had the, because they're old, and they had the cord thing on it,
Okay.
and that's what was there. And we were like, What is this? Is that like symbolize he's trying to talk to us?" uh but that was the only other weird thing that happened. Like I mean, like sometimes like it was always kind of hard to definitively say if like the food that was eaten was taken by
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot. Because sometimes like food would be gone, and we were like, well, it could be like a squirrel or anything that came up here and decided to take the food. So there wasn't anything definitive that we could like prove, but we mainly were putting food out there as like a peace offering. It's like we come in peace, we feed you. But those were like my only like weird things. We never found hair or anything or any other footprints that were back there. But the telephone like wire thing was the only weird thing.
Well,
Uh huh. Okay. All right. So let's go into the second topic of today, which is pop
mm-hmm.
culture news. And you had something specific you wanted to talk about. Yeah.
Is
Hmm.
I've noticed a lot of, like how they have bar crawls. There's now this recent trend
Yes.
in some of the states that are starting to slowly open up, and even states that are like partially opening
Okay.
up, like Illinois. I've noticed a few different Facebook groups. They're doing restaurant crawls, and basically you start somewhere for breakfast, then you go somewhere for a snack.
Okay.
You go walk around and burn off everything, all the pancakes you just ate or whatever. Go burn off that
Mm-hmm.
IHOP whatever. Um,
Yeah.
Omelet. That's the word I was looking for. And you just go from restaurant to restaurant. And
Omelette.
so I was
Okay.
wondering if you, it's a
Yes.
topic slash question, but I'm seeing this is starting to become more and more popular, as especially now that the states are opening back up.
Okay.
If you could plan out it has to be a different restaurant for every single meal and one
Okay.
snack and one
Ooh.
dessert.
Oof.
And if you want to add in like a place for
Oof.
drinks or like a bar or something like that, it doesn't even have to be a particular bar. Just like what would each of your meals be like? I'll let you do yours and then I'll do mine.
Oh. Oh man, dude, this is hard. First off, I just want to say I don't think that's necessarily safe. Of just
Yeah,
doing
no. Yeah,
food
no. I don't think
crawls.
it's safe yet.
Yeah, I don't think that's
I like
safe.
the
So
idea. I
I
don't
would
think
not
it's
do
safe
that.
yet though.
Yeah, I think that's a smart idea. Okay, I know
All
my
right.
first breakfast one. So I would go, and this is a vegan plate. So I would go to a place called the Chicago
Okay.
Diner. Um, I like the one. I think it's Logan Square better than like the original location. I like the
Okay.
Logan Square one. Um, they have um a vegan Monte
Okay.
Cristo. I think that's what it is, Monte Cristo, and it's has like supposed to have like ham and eggs and all this other
Ooh.
stuff, and the bread is like French toast.
Ooh.
Um, and cheese, and it is so good, especially there's. I'm like, oh my god, this is so good. So I would pick that as my
Mm.
breakfast. Man, do you have set picks that you know?
I do actually.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go. So I've locked in my breakfast one, but I don't know my others, so I'll have to
All
brainstorm as
right.
you talk.
So breakfast, I'm gonna go to Batters and Berries. It,
Where's that
it
at?
is in Chicago. I've only been once.
Okay,
If they have an amazing Facebook page, I think they have like something like 100
okay,
or 150 different kinds of French toast at this place. Like they have like
okay.
whiskey infused French toast and all sorts of really cool stuff. I'd probably get
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know. I'd probably get like just a nice maple syrup and like bacon French toast type thing. Um, with orange
Okay.
juice. I like orange juice for breakfast a lot. Um, and just black coffee. Um, for lunch, I would probably hmm. For lunch, there's a few different places. So there's a greasy joint place called Andy's.
Okay.
Now I did construction work for like a year and a half, something like that. And just about every construction site that I ever went to, within like a mile or two, there was an Andy's.
Yeah. Oh,
And
okay.
I don't know if it's a coincidence or if it's just these Andes know that these construction workers love this greasy joint food. But man, dude, their hot dog special is so good. So good. And then they have
Ooh.
a Euro sandwich where it's two hamburger buns, but with gyro meat
Oh
in between.
man.
So it's really nice.
Oh,
So I'd probably
okay.
get lunch from there. I'd get with root beer. The one that I like to go to makes their own root beer. So there's that.
Okay.
Um, and then I'd probably get like an Irish mint shake that they have. It's really, really good. Highly recommend it. You can get like 2 hot dogs, a large drink, and a large shake, and a large fry for like $10, $12, something like that. I think it's probably like $12. Really, really good food. For my snack, I would probably go and get like a sushi sampler platter type thing, like a little
Okay.
sampler from Asian Harbor. Get a little bit of sake or sake, depending on how you want to say it. I'd probably do like a salmon roll and then a shrimp tempura roll, which is like a fried shrimp roll um, for a
Okay.
snack. And then I would definitely finish, hands down, at Gibson Steakhouse. And I'd get the best filet that I could possibly afford. Their steaks, they're some of them they have dry aged steaks, so you have like a little bit more of
Okay.
a rustic kind of flavor to them. And it also makes the meat very, very tender. You can cut their steaks with a spoon. Like it's it's really cool. So I definitely end there. I'd probably get an old fashioned, because that's my drink of choice when I go out for steak.
uh, what's an old fashioned?
Oh man,
I don't know drinks. Like we kind of like I before we started, I was just like, man, could use a white claw, and you scolded me for it.
so I prefer a whiskey old fashioned. Um,
Okay.
I'm just pulling up allrecipes.com because I can't even tell you what's in it. I just know it's really, really good.
Okay.
Let's see. It's 2 teaspoons according to allrecipes.com. So here we go. I prefer Knob Creek whiskey in mine. Um, and the ingredients is 2 ounces of Knob Creek bourbon whiskey. I prefer
Okay.
a quarter ounce of rich simple syrup, dash of bitters, of aromatic bitters. Usually it's like an orange bitters, something like that. And then lemon peel
Okay.
is pretty traditional. I prefer Gibson's Steakhouse is it's same drinks, but then the garnishes are cherries. One large ice cube that's infused a little bit with cherry syrup. So as the giant ice cube melts, like you get like a nice infusion of cherry. And then they have
Okay.
let's see, it's lemon, orange, and cherry. I think all inside of it, but like the lemon and the orange are
Oh.
just the rind, so you get a really strong flavor.
Okay.
It's got a nice kick to it, but it's a really nice sipping drink. I find it goes really good with like a nice grilled steak. Um, so that's
Okay.
what I would do, and then dessert. Oof, can I go back to batters and berries? But no, I'd probably go pretty basic and go with Cheesecake Factory. Go over there and get
You.
like their Hershey's,
Bleh,
their not Hershey's, their Reese's peanut
bleh.
butter cup. If not there,
Okay.
there's a place not too far from me called Serenity's Place. It is owned by
Okay.
a girl that's local to the village that's in, and it's
Okay.
owned by a local girl. Like I don't even I think she's like 21, 22, if that. It's a really small place, really, really
Okay.
small. It's got like 3 tables inside, but she makes the best apple fritters, man. They're so, so good. So, so good.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so yeah, that's probably be what I would do. I mean, I'd probably have a few drinks mixed in there around lunch, depending. I'm not really an early morning drinker kind of guy. If anything, I would if I were to add any more alcohol, it would probably be like half a shot of whiskey and like some apple juice for breakfast. Because I've heard that that's pretty good.
Okay.
So, But yeah, that's my ideal restaurant crawl if I were to do this.
Okay. Oh boy. I'm still like in a bind here because like I'm torn between like Nona's Pizza and
Okay.
Pachi's a little bit because I feel like if you go too heavy on lunch, it's gonna like ruin your
Yeah.
dinner a little bit. So I'm like, okay, not getting the deep dish pizza of that. So I think or I don't even know because then you have Nancy's Pizza as well. Dude, this is too hard. You picked somebody that likes to eat a lot
Same,
of
man.
things.
My wife likes to say that my food my food choices are just as big as my music love because I can range from rap to hardcore metal and then be listening to Beethoven like that. So
I wouldn't say hardcore metal.
there's a few. There's a
I'm
few. I've got a few.
okay. Yeah, I don't know. So I guess I'm just gonna throw out some stuff here. So I guess it's interchangeable. So for lunch, for lunch, I'm gonna go with uh
Okay.
Nona's Pizza because it's easy. So for a snack in between there, uh, going to the Plush Horse for ice cream.
Ooh, yeah, plush
Uh,
horse.
uh, uh, dinner, is Rosebud, which is like a nice like
Yeah.
Italian place that's really good. Have you been there
I
before?
have actually.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
They're really good. They're like
Mm-hmm.
fancy stuff. And then for dessert, okay, I don't remember what the place is called, but it's a Chinese restaurant that's not too far
Okay.
from where I live, and they have like these little like donut
Oh, the
things that
sweet
are like really
biscuits.
soft and yes,
Yes.
those yes. So yeah, that would be
Nice.
my pick.
Nice.
Yeah, I like. There's so many food places I like, even like franchise ones. Like I was thinking of throwing it in there for like a snack, which like something from Taco Bell.
Okay.
I love Taco
Their
Bell,
Nacho Bel
even though
Grande,
it's
man. Some days, like when I was going to college, and
mhm.
like I'd be done after like a really hard psychology class or something like that. Like a Nacho Bel Grande will just hit you in a different way,
Man,
and
I
it'll hit even worse later
yeah, I
on in
don't
the day.
yeah, I don't know. There's something about Taco Bell that it's trash food, but it's just
Right?
so good. You're just like, man, this really hit the spot. My favorite from Taco Bell is the Crunch Wrap
Okay.
Supreme.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I get it without the meat, but it's still so good with that nacho
Right.
cheese in
Their
there.
nacho cheese is nice, man.
Mm.
It's really good.
I know. It it was
Nice.
great. That's my favorite go-to place, especially. Well, I don't know anymore, but most places they're one of them that stays open really
Mm-hmm.
late, so
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
just be like, man, it's two
Well, I
o'clock in the
mean,
morning.
it's
What do I
like
want to eat?
it's like the
Taco
ultimate
Bell.
munchie spot, though. Like if you got the munchies, you go to Taco Bell,
Yeah.
and it's just
Yeah, it's always for me. It's that thing where like you eat a late lunch and then you like skip
mm-hmm.
dinner, and so then you're like at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and you're like, oh well, I'm hungry. I'm too lazy to make
Mm-hmm.
anything. I'll just go to
Yeah.
Taco
Yeah.
Bell. It's like I don't like it's so weird. Like I don't know if I told you this, but it, it's very much one of those things is you don't know, especially now that we're talking about food and stuff, because I'm like, man, I haven't been like out to eat at a restaurant in a long time now, and it's always just kind of like it feels like you don't know what you got till it's gone, you know.
Yeah.
And it's even like now, like especially I would say like in the past couple days, I've like been feeling this regret of, man, I wish I did more when I had the opportunity to, because now I don't have the opportunity, and I'm looking back and I'm like, man, I wish I did all these things, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not even like, I mean, this is more personal, but like just stuff between you and I'm like, man, like even all the times we hung out, we were like, oh, we'll just go over to your house or something like that and just like watch a movie or play video games. So like, man, I wish we did something. I wish we just like, yo, let's get in my car and we'll like drive someplace or something like that. I have this like regret of like, man, I wish we did more when we had the ability to, you
I
know.
agree.
I don't know if it's an appreciation for it, but I do think that, maybe if a sense of normalcy that we had does come back in sometime soon or a year and a half from now, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I hope that I take away from this is that like instead of when I go and I see you, I'm not like, okay, let's play games. Like I'll be like, dude, let's go someplace,
Right.
Let's
Let's go
go
find a
here, let's
forest
do
preserve or
this.
something.
Yeah,
Let's
go
go
to like a
somewhere.
forest preserve and be like, yo, like there's this place downtown. Like we've done it a handful of times, but
Yeah,
I'm just like, I
spring
wish we
break was
did
fun.
that more because I guess like I can't. There's maybe specific funny memories I have from us playing games, like the freak out I had when in Smash Bros where like I couldn't beat you with
Hero.
Wolf. Well, not even Wolf, like in Hero.
Eh,
So there's stuff like that, but the stuff I remember is like, oh yeah, remember we like went downtown and we walked around and we were gonna go to that guitar place, but then uh
it was an online store.
yeah, and you were like, oh, it's like 5 minutes away, but you were looking at the driving time of it, and so
Right.
it like took us forever to walk there, and then it was online. I was so mad at you, and I was like,
Yep.
I'm getting an Uber. We are going to the Chicago Music
And
Exchange.
it was 100% worth it.
Oh yeah,
That was awesome.
it was so nice there, and
It
the
was
guy.
it was a
And,
sketchy subway ride home,
oh
but
yeah, it was a little bit, but and the best part, remember our Uber driver where he started to take off and somebody was in front of him and he slammed his hand down on the hood of the car and our Uber driver
uh
was like, "If you my car, I you."
huh.
And it was just the best thing ever because I was just like, oh, I remember looking at you like, this is really happening right now. Our
Uh
Uber
huh.
driver almost killed somebody and he's about to fight them. So it's
Yep.
stuff like that where it's like I have great memories of that.
Uh huh.
Like I remember because that's you were also like looking because you wanted to propose to your girlfriend who is now your wife.
Yeah.
And
It was a
like we went down
success.
to the beach area and you were like we were scouting places of like, oh, where would be like a good backdrop for the picture and
Yeah.
everything. So it was stuff like that where I'm like I have so many memories of that day, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like I wish we did more of that,
Yeah.
you
We'll
know?
definitely have to for
Yeah.
sure. And
And
I
even
actually found a really good forest preserve, actually not too far from my work.
oh,
Um,
okay.
so it's really nice.
Yeah,
So
there's it's so much stuff like that where I feel like a part of it like this I guess is trying to find the silver lining of something bad, but I'm just so happy that I'm like, man, this is like
it
it's
really
giving
makes
me
you
an
appreciate the past
it,
things.
yeah, it makes you appreciate that and going forward like I want to be like let's do this. Like even the time remember where the group of us it was I'll edit out the names. It was you and I um where we all went and we went to the forest preserve. I forgot
Oh
what it was,
yeah.
but yeah.
Swallow Cliff, the
Yes.
one with the
It,
stairs. Yeah.
yeah, the one with the stairs. Yeah. And remember, I was just being stupid, and I was like, "I don't know you," and then I ran off
Yep.
down the trail, and then you were the only one that like ran after me, and then I was like, sitting on like a log, and you were like coming up, and I was just like, "Yo, what are you doing?"
Yep.
So it's stuff like that where we like have like fond memories of stuff.
Yeah.
So going forward, we're gonna have to do more stuff instead of just being like, bro, you wanna play GTA 5? We'll play GTA 5. Milking it like Rockstar is doing right now.
Right? Like, dude, they've already said that they're coming out with GTA 5 for the PS5
Uh
and
huh.
and the
Really.
Xbox. So,
And I know I'm biased because we live in Chicago and relatively I guess we're kind of small, but they've done like Miami, New York, and they did Los Angeles.
right.
Like pretty much the only other big cities you have left are like or like places that I think would be comparable of like you might want to do something is like probably like what Chicago, maybe like New Orleans, Dallas.
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
know.
Dallas or Houston, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta too. So there's like but I feel like on the hierarchy of things like Chicago needs its own GTA game.
Yeah. And it'd be easier to do like water stuff because like Atlanta's got some water, but like in New
Mhm.
Orleans, obviously, you do like a
Yeah.
Bayou GTA. That'd be kind of
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah, that
But
would
like
be good.
Chicago would just work. Like that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't know. I always wanted that. It's on my like Facebook memory like years ago in like 2011. I was like if you want a GTA Windy City.
Right.
It was so cringy.
Uh,
Oh boy. So that
so
was that was
that
we'll
was a
go.
tangent.
Yeah, that was a tangent. So let's go into what are you into? So do you want to go first? You want me to go?
I'll go first.
Oh, okay.
So recently, I mentioned earlier in the podcast that season 4 for Call of Duty is out.
Correct.
So I have been going ham. Um, for those who don't know, I am attempting to be a streamer. You can follow me at Night Fury 562 on Twitch, and I should have
Please follow.
some right. Hit that bell icon. I actually don't know if Twitch does. I don't know. I don't know. I had my first stream ever. I had like 28 people watching, so I was really happy about that.
Ooh.
Um, I am in the top like 1.5% out of like I don't know how many downloads does Call of Duty Modern Warfare have now? Like
Probably a
70,
lot.
60, 70, 80 million downloads, something like that. But I'm in the top 1.5% in multiplayer, not in
Congratulations.
Warzone. I don't really play Warzone very often. So I'm really big into it. I've played Call of Duty since like World at War. I grew up on the Wii playing World at War. Um, so I on the Wii I had World at War, Modern Warfare 3, and the original Black Ops, and those are my games. Then I got the PS4. I'm sorry, and I got Black Ops 3, Call of Duty World War 2, and now Modern Warfare. And so I'm kind of born and bred in Call of Duty. So anyway, so season 4 came out finally. It was postponed because of um, the U.S.'s um, civil rights issues going on
The
right
civil
now.
rights.
I
The
just put it like that.
yeah.
So it was postponed, and they were like standing firm with the protests going on, which I thought was kind of neat. But it was released, and the new game-breaking Vector came out. It's got the fastest fire rate in the game for SMGs.
Ooh.
Um, it is not going to be the new meta, just because it flies through its 25 round mag and even its extended 40 round mag so fast, it's not even funny.
Okay.
But the new pistol, I'm not the new pistol. The new AR though they released was the CR556 AMAX. It's basically just the Galil for those that know what the Galil is from the Black Ops series. Um, that might be a new meta game, meta gun. I think will be pretty popular. Other than that, I've just been grinding, man. I've been trying to grind for Damascus for the past I don't know how long, and I've got like a launcher and a half left. Double XP weekend is going on right now for the guns,
Oh.
so I'm gonna try to level up my launchers as high as I can. That way, I have all the camos challenges unlocked, so I can start getting like a lot of them. Like I can complete like 2 or 3 camos simultaneously,
Oh.
but
Okay.
I can't do that if I don't have them all unlocked. So I've been doing that.
Hmm. Okay.
But yeah. So how about you? What's been new with you, man? What have you been into?
Uh, recently, I didn't know that he was gonna have an album drop soon. I was just looking because or I'll just say the name, Jeff Rosenstock. He's a music artist. He also was like the front man in Bomb the Music Factory.
Uh huh.
I forgot. I think he was in another band as well. He also does a lot of stuff with other people. But his solo thing, Jeff Rosenstock. He released a new album. I don't remember what day it was, but I think it was like last month or this month. It was around there. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew that he released like a live album, and I was just like, man, I feel like listening to like some stuff from his live album. So I like looked him up, and then a new album was there, and I was just like, thank goodness. It's called
Nice.
No Dream, so I've been listening to that quite a bit. Um, uh, did you listen to some of the songs I sent you by it?
I did. I did.
Okay, what'd you think of? Yeah, I sent you "Beauty of Breathing." What'd you think of it?
Um, I'll openly admit it's not really my style per se,
Yeah.
but I think I liked it. I think I'd have to listen to it several times to really get a good feel for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's pop punk, but it has elements of like old punk and some elements of newer stuff as well.
Uh huh.
Because it's not like you hear him and you're like, oh yeah, I can hear the Blink 182 influences. I don't really hear that at all. I guess I feel like I hear more like Green Day kind of stuff within his. Um, but yeah, I don't know. That album was just so good. I like Jeff Rosenstock. I saw him in 2018 at the Mopop Festival in Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really cool. And they because of the Superbug, they postponed Riot Fest this year, which I bought 3 day tickets for because My Chemical Romance is going to be there. Um, and when they announced the delay, they posted the not the set list, but like the rundown of all the bands that are going to be there. And there's
Mm-hmm.
so many good bands. Like I'm hoping they add Jeff Rosenstock because I know they said they were going to add more people to it. So I hope Jeff Rosenstock gets on there because I'm like, man, I want to see him again.
That'd be
It
pretty cool.
yeah, he's I mean, he's not like the best singer. Like you can even hear it. It's very his vocals are very raw, you know.
Okay.
He doesn't really like do it a lot of stuff. So like when I saw him live, he was just out up there just like really just like screaming and like very guttural kind of stuff. What his like one of his song called "You in Weird Cities," which I absolutely love. I love it so much. That's what he closed. I'm pretty sure that's what he closed the set with at Mopop, and it was just so great. Where you're just like, man, like this is so great, and I'd love to see that again. But yeah, Riot Fest. Did you see the lineup for Riot Fest at all?
I have not seen the lineup for Riot
Oh
Fest.
man, it's pretty. It's kind of stacked. I bought tickets when My Chemical Romance announced that their reunion tour was gonna be there,
Mm-hmm.
so I like immediately it was like 3 day pass.
Yeah.
And I got I was My Chemical Romance, the Smashing Pumpkins, Run the Jewels, the Pixies. Those are like the big ones. And then Coheed and Cambria, which I love. Um,
Nice.
and I'm also I sent you that song too because the lead singer of Coheed and Cambria has a
Mm-hmm.
side project called Prize Fighter Inferno. And what did you think of that song?
Um.
Because it's like electronic kind of
Yeah, I was gonna say I
stuff.
I got like 30 seconds into it. To be honest, I wasn't able to listen to the whole thing.
Oh,
Just because like I I kind of lost track of time and I had to get some stuff done.
oh, okay.
Um, but I will say the 30 seconds that I did hear is intriguing me enough to want to go back and listen to it.
Yeah,
Um,
I really like the stuff he does. It very much sounds like a Coheed and Cambria song, like just melody wise
hmm,
of stuff. Um, but yeah, they got Taking Back Sunday, All American Rejects, Newfound Glory, Simple Plan. I saw Simple Plan last year. Let's see who else is on here. Pop is gonna be there. They're pretty good. Mayday Parade. Uh, what you call it? Yeah, there's a
ooh,
lot. There's some pretty good bands that are gonna be there. Like pretty much, I recognized everybody on the list, even if I don't listen to them. Like Beach Bunny, Fever 333, Boston Manor, Thursday saves the day. Just it's to be honest, it's pretty stacked.
that's a pretty stacked
Yeah, and that's not
list for
even all the
sure.
people. Those are the ones that like I kind of listen to. You know,
Right.
like there's other ones that I don't really listen to as much that I see on here. That I'm sure people are like, "Ooh, boy." I'm just hoping like who I hope they add, which will just like complete it for me, is Saint Vincent, Jeff Rosenstock. Um, those are like the major two. Failure. I hope they add those, which I might or might not happen. I don't know,
Okay.
but yeah, that I spent all of my money on Riot Fest tickets. But yeah, I've just kind of been like listening to that and just kind of vibing with music because that's kind of, I mean,
It's the
uh,
constant right now.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, you just kind of chill out, listen to music, or even in doing something. I know yesterday I was painting stuff outside, and I was like, man, I'm gonna bring my speaker out here, and I was just blasting tunes.
Nice.
I was like, screw my neighbors. Their kids are always screaming all the time.
Right.
Like, I'm like, they gotta listen to my music. All right, so going on, we're going to have the airing of the grievances. Um, Do you want to go first? You want me to go?
Oh man, so airing of the grievances. Yeah, I got plenty of those.
And yeah, this is your favorite part.
Yeah, right. So my thing recently has been my wife and I are in need of a car,
Okay.
and I'm getting more and more frustrated with the car market. And so I a little back history on my work history. I said I was a carpenter. I'm currently a metal polisher, but I used to be a car detailer, and I was what would be referred to as a porter and a porter manager for three pretty large dealerships in the Chicagoland area.
Okay.
And I've driven everything from a '96 Toyota Corolla to LaFerraris, um, and so I'm pretty good with the car business. Like I understand what to look for, what not to get, what dealerships to deal with, what dealerships not to deal with, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm a little frustrated. Not so much anymore. Just because my wife and I figured out, our budget and everything. And once you have the developed budget for what you want to spend as a couple together for a vehicle, it makes things a lot easier. Um, but so I've been trying to figure out because it's hard to set up an in person appointment right now because of the super
Yeah.
bug. So and I don't want to buy a car online without obviously seeing it and driving it. I want to see it with my own eyes. I want to touch it with my hands. I want to look through it with my eyes.
Mhm.
Like we went out to a dealership. I'm not gonna say where. I will say though that was one of the dealerships I used to work at,
Ooh. Okay.
and they were trying to upcharge us on a Hyundai, a used Hyundai Sonata, and I'm like, y'all are charging me for a car that's got like 44,000 miles on it, which is pretty low mileage, not too bad. And they
Yeah,
were
that's
wanting
okay.
like 16, 17 grand for it, something like that. I was able to talk them down to like 13.
Okay.
And so, oh, what? Sorry about that.
You're
The
good.
rain and everything's putting me to sleep. My wife starts driving, and what started off as like a teardrop crack in the windshield like grew like from the center of the windshield all the way across it.
Oh, that's so good.
And the salesman saw that, and he didn't call it out. Like he didn't offer to change the price until I said, "Hey, dude, there's a giant crack growing as we're
Yeah.
driving on the windshield." And then he was like, "Okay, we'll replace the windshield for you." And I'm like, "Yeah, and well, how about the giant coffee stain in the back seat?" "What coffee stain in the back seat?" "There's a giant coffee stain in the back seat." And he's like, "No, no." And I said, "Go look, dude. I used to be a detailer, man. Like,
Yeah.
no car would roll off this lot without me putting my eyes on this thing."
Yeah.
So there's a giant coffee stain in the back. And so like I can't trust dealerships to show me the right thing. Like they say that they're gonna do like this, oh, it's gonna be like a Zoom call and they'll do like a live video. And I'm like, well, if I'm looking at say a white Hyundai Sonata, they probably have
Mhm.
50 of the same exact model that I'm looking at
Yeah.
on the lot. I want to be in person looking at this thing. So I was trying to figure
How
out
soon do you need a car? Like, is the other
we
one
don't,
kind of crashing
so
out?
it's so basically we don't need it.
Okay.
We want it before we need it.
Okay.
So we want to get it before our current car breaks down is the hope, because then we're in a better position at the bargaining table. Like we don't have to
Yeah.
go to a dealership and be like, we need a car. And then
Yeah.
like if they highball us, we have to take it. So we want to be able to preemptively come at the situation, and while we still have the high ground um, in the argument, and not in the argument, in the negotiations. So that's been my thing. I'm just trying to figure out how to deal with car shopping with the super bug going on. Um, I love the Cars.com app and Doug DeMuro on YouTube. He's a pretty famous car YouTuber who does a lot of car reviews. Between those two, the Cars.com app and then Doug DeMuro on YouTube, it makes life a lot easier for sure.
That's
So
good.
that's been my That's been my frustration as of recent. So, how about you? How have you been? What are you complaining about, my friend?
Mine, it's not as much of complaining as more as it's like grief and sadness.
Okay.
But our boy Charles Entertainment Cheese has had to file bankruptcy.
Oof.
Yes,
Oof.
and and I they were on their way out to begin with, kind of, and the
Yeah, I mean,
Superbug has pushed them there. I was there not that long ago before the whole Superbug happened,
mhm.
and it wasn't it was pretty empty, but we were there during like school time, I guess, and it was more just like little kids and stuff. Because I took my little cousin there, and he really liked it. But I have so many memories there. I pretty much had like every single birthday there, probably up until I don't know. I'm going to guess maybe like 12 or 11, something like that, maybe
Hmm.
somewhere around there. If I had like every single birthday, like just like on the day of my birthday, I was like, I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese, and I did have a number of like birthday parties there, where everyone was like, "Come on, let's celebrate with the birthday boy," and Chucky would come out.
Hmm.
Then one of the employees was dancing around in the suit, like, "Oh, hello, kid that I really hate."
Right?
But so it's sad that they like went under, and I saw this picture on Twitter of a which they didn't do a good job of it, because I know it's like a thing within the company contract that you have to destroy any of the animatronic mascot or suits that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then like it's a picture of there in like a garbage dump, and there's a Chuck E. Cheese animatronic that is pretty much still intact, but he's like half fallen apart, and it's very like disconcerting. Oh, but I don't know. I don't know what else to say except like I hope, because I think the brand has just so much potential. Like, and I think, and I don't know why it fell apart. I mean, I know some of it. Like he's recently been canceled, but Shane Dawson like just made up conspiracy theories about their establishment of like reusing pizza and whatnot.
Yeah, I was
Which,
gonna say.
yeah, so I think that was probably a big hit of it. But like I don't know. I don't think it even I don't think it was as bad as people thought it was, but I don't know. Oh man, it's a sad time. It's a very very just sad time.
Yeah.
The only way I think that they could like maybe like rebrand, because I know they've tried to do stuff like they had like terrible like Wii mini games,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and stuff like that. But like I think like they could, it is a way to try to like stay around in like pop culture. Like I could see them like trying to do like a show or something like that, like a TV
Okay.
show of trying to like spin off to that and like kind of keep the brand alive in a certain way,
I can
you
kind of
know?
see what you're saying with that. Yeah,
Because
that
like
makes sense.
because like I feel like they you could possibly do that, and because that's never been a thing that happened at all, you know? Like I listened to this podcast on NPR called How I Built This, and I think his name, let me verify before I go spouting off facts here. His name is Nolan Bushnell, and he was the founder of Atari, or like a co-founder of Atari. And what ended up happening was that through like a big thing of circumstances, basically he got pushed out of his role in Atari, because he was very much laid back and whatnot, and he said that that
Mm-hmm.
was, that there's maybe a detriment to why he got fired. That he was like, there was no dress code. He's like, he just show up, and he was like, we were the place. He was like that, like all the startup kind of tech companies that were there in like the 80s and stuff. He was like, he's like, we were the ones that had like a beer keg and a bunch of pizzas during our lunch break. And he said that once Atari started getting bigger and whatnot, then it kind of changed where then he kind of got forced out. But then he was talking about how that since like the arcade cabinets were so much that that he basically thought, well, he's like, well, we're making money from it, but that the places that you were selling them to, like the or putting them in, that a lot of these establishments, they were getting a cut of the money that was going into the machines, right?
Hmm.
And so he was like sitting at one of like the Disneyland parks. I'm thinking it was whatever the one is in LA. And he said he was sitting there and he like saw like the animatronic things that they had on rides and stuff. And he
Mm-hmm.
was just like, well, he was just like, if I could make whatchamacallit, like a place where you could have all these arcade machines and it was something entertaining where the parents could like listen to music and sit around and stuff like that, where you could hear the parents were like, oh yeah, these are popular songs, where they could sit around. And he was like, you would need food, and he was like, yeah, you could do something kind of easy and cheap like pizza, but it would take enough time for them to spend, like the kids to spend money there. And then he made Chuck E. Cheese.
Hmm.
So the creator of Atari then went and still tried to profit off of the system that he created by making Chuck E. Cheese.
Hmm.
So he's a very inventive and smart guy, which I thought, I was like, wow, that's a good way from going. Then you're pretty much like the pioneer of the arcade thing, and then you're like the man, like I'm gonna capitalize off this no matter what.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's on NPR. I think I said it's called a podcast called How I Built This. If I
Mm-hmm.
think it's like maybe like an hour if you have like a time to listen to it, or even the listeners if you have time to listen to it, it's really good because he knows what he's talking about. I guess that kind of wraps it up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. This,
um, so think if you've listened this far, that's great, and we thank you for supporting us. This
please like and
far,
subscribe. Hit that bell
like
icon.
like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Since we're so new, we're a little infantile channel. We will respond back to you if you comment. Well,
Right.
we'll send little heart emojis. But yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at the infamous fall. um I the I was kind of thinking a little bit, we didn't really introduce ourselves in the beginning, but I'm gonna, because like most people, I'm trying to like establish my brand. So I guess to make it easier for people, I also go by the name like Xander McLeod. That was again, that was like cringe stuff I came up with when I was younger in high school. um but yeah, so you can follow me at the Infamous Fall, or you can also look up Xander McLeod. It's the one and the same. You can follow me on there, and where can people find you at?
Well, people can find me on Twitch at Night Fury 562. Um, that is also my PlayStation account name. If you'd like to shoot me a friend request or just a friendly message, I'm very quick to respond. Um, I should hopefully in the future, maybe in a month or two, seeing how streaming goes up, I'll have a YouTube account. So yeah, that's how they can find me. So
All right. Well, thank you for listening, and we will definitely shoot for having um more on time uploads.
hmm.
Oh, and I should also plug that this account also does have its own Twitter. You can follow us at also Star Support Cast on Twitter. We don't post too much on there yet, so you can, that's where you can see when we upload as well. And hopefully we'll try to be more active on there and whatnot. So thanks for listening, and if you're listening to this when it comes out, we will see you in a few days on Wednesday.
Yep, sounds good, peeps.
All right, bye.
All right, bye everybody.